Today I will talk about the Super Guppy, an aircraft so strange that looks like a flying whale. Discover everything about it in this video. Subscribe to the channel, share the videos, and welcome aboard. In the golden age of aviation, when rockets pointed skyward and space became the next frontier, there arose a peculiar giant that didn't soar fast or high, but carried dreams inside its cavernous belly. This was the Super Guppy, an aircraft so strange in appearance that onlookers often did a double take. With its bloated fuselage and slow cruising speed, it looked more like a flying whale than a technological marvel. Yet, it played a pivotal role in some of humanity's greatest achievements. The story of the Super Guppy begins in the early 1960s. NASA had a problem: how to transport oversized rocket components, especially for Saturn V program, from manufacturing facilities to testing and launch sites. Traditional cargo aircraft were too small, and overland or sea transportation was too slow or dangerous for delicate aerospace hardware. Engineers at Aerospace Lines, a small company in California, came up with an audacious idea to create an aircraft with an enlarged fuselage built around the frame of a Boeing 377 Stratocruiser. The original pregnant Guppy was born in 1962. It looked bizarre, but it worked. Soon after, the company realized a need for even more capacity, leading to the development of the Super Guppy, which made its first flight in 1965. It retained the quirky look of its predecessor, but was larger, stronger, and more capable. The fuselage had a diameter of over 25 feet, 7.6 meters, allowing it to swallow rocket stages whole. The Super Guppy didn't just transport equipment, it transported history. In the 1960s and 70s, it carried vital sections of the Saturn V rocket to Cape Canaveral. Without it, the logistics of the Apollo missions would have been far more complicated, perhaps even delayed. Engineers, astronauts, and space enthusiasts alike began to recognize the value of this unglamorous giant. Its design was revolutionary. The entire nose of the aircraft could swing open to the side, giving crews direct access to the enormous cargo hold. Despite its massive size, the Super Guppy could land on standard runways, and its unique loading system made it more efficient than any alternative. Powered by 4 turboprop engines, it cruised at modest speeds, but that was never the point. It was a workhorse, not a racehorse. What truly set the Super Guppy apart was its role as an enabler of innovation. It helped NASA move components for Skylab, the Apollo-Soyuz test project, and later, parts of the International Space Station. It became an icon of creative problem-solving, a reminder that sometimes solving big challenges requires thinking bigger. Over the years, multiple versions of the Guppy were developed, but only 5 Super Guppies were ever built. Each had its own story, its own cargo, and its own legacy. One of them, the last of its kind, was acquired by NASA and continues to fly to this day under the designation Super Guppy Turbine SGT. Refitted with modern engines and avionics, it remains in service, used primarily to transport spacecraft components such as the Orion crew capsule. People who have seen the Super Guppy in person often describe a sense of awe. Its size defies logic, and its flight, graceful, deliberate, and almost unreal, reminds us of the possibilities born of human ingenuity. Pilots who fly it speak of the unique challenge it presents. Handling such a bulky aircraft demands precision and care, especially during takeoff and landing. Yet, they also speak with pride, knowing they are part of a lineage that helped humanity reach beyond the Earth. Despite advances in aviation and logistics, the Super Guppy's niche remains hard to replace. Modern alternatives like the Airbus Beluga and Boeing Dreamlifter serve similar roles, but the Super Guppy remains special, a symbol of a different era, when unconventional solutions paved the way to the stars. Visitors to air museums across the US and Europe can still find some of the retired Guppies, their immense bodies towering over other aircraft. Children look up at them with wide eyes, while older generations recall television broadcasts of rocket launches and moon landings, aware that inside that bulbous fuselage once traveled the pieces of history. The Super Guppy never broke speed records. It wasn't sleek or stylish, but in its quiet, lumbering way, it carried the future. From Saturn rockets to Orion spacecraft, it helped build a bridge between the Earth and the cosmos. And for that, it will always be remembered not just as an aircraft, but as a gentle giant that lifted human dreams skyward.